let's see. What I really want to see is how high on your top 10 list you got Christian Watson on the wide receiver list.
All right, we can move on to the wide receivers now. I think this is also another one that people get super passionate about. So if it's not the quarterback that's the most viewed video for us, I think it's going to be this wide receiver one because people fucking love their wide receivers, man. Super passionate.
Be the guards.
Definitely will not be the guards. Honorable mentions before we get into the war zone.
How many you got?
I had more. I only put 2 on there.
All right, who you got for your honorables?
Terry McLaurin and Tyreek Hill.
Okay, unranked for you, this guy. I have my honorable mentions, who I really want to put on the list, wanted to put on the list. I have Mike Evans.
He was, potential honorable mention.
I got DK.
Potential honorable mention, yep.
And I got my boy Lab McConkey.
Oh, man. He was, when I was going through the list, and I went division by division, first team that I was on the divisions by was the Chargers. I'm like, and I started going through everything, and he kept getting pushed, and I'm like, Fudge, no. I want to put him on there higher, man. But God, there's so many good wide receivers.
I want shit to make sense. I got Justin Herbert, a top 5 quarterback, but I don't think Lab McConkey could be a top 10 running wide receiver. Like, it was tough for me. But since you unranked this guy, I'll give you my number 10. I have Tyreek Hill at number 10.
Are you saying I unranked Tyreek Hill, or I don't have another guy ranked?
You said he's an honorable mention, right?
Oh, yeah. He's honorable mention.
Yeah, so he's unranked. Yep. Top 10 rankings, he's unranked.
Correct.
Doesn't matter that you have him 11. He's unranked.
Honorably mentioned.
He's not ranked.
He's honorably mentioned.
Is he ranked?
Honorably.
Yes or no? Is he ranked?
He is.
Perfect.
He's going to
ranked.
come up to the podium and take his award for being honorably mentioned for the top 10 wide receivers for the 2025-2026 season.
Perfect. And that's how we know you're a Gen Zer, because you believe in participation trophies.
That was your parents who implemented that.
Unranked.
Fuck off.
I shout out to that. I also had the Buffalo Bills in my top 10 power rankings start the season last year.
Word.
And you had
them
them
year past that.
Unranked.
Unranked. Okay.
So what's your number 10, man?
First of all, I left Tyreek Hill off because I'm not so sure where he's going to be at for the entire season. He's getting up there in age and a lot of controversy, and not sure if he's going to be on the team for the entire year. That's why I have him at 11. Number 10 is a guy that I think he's going to have. He had a good season last year, and I think he's going to build on that with being, to me, the guy. Jackson Smith-Njigba is my number 10 wide receiver. Yep.
Damn.
100 receptions, over 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns. And he had DK and Tyler Lockett in tow. I think he solidified himself as a close to top 10 receiver, top 15, top 16 wide receiver last year. I think he's going to build off of it. I'm not saying that's where he's at right now in this moment or at the end of last season. But I think by the time we get to the end of this season, I think that's where he will be. I think he will be top 10.
See, my problem with Jackson Smith-Njigba is the book is out on him. He excels in zone coverage, but he can't get open in man-to-man coverage, and now there's not someone on the other side to help him get open. So when he's drawn the number 1 corner every week, I did 20 wide receivers, and I didn't get Jackson Smith-Njigba on the list. I honestly, that dude didn't even enter the stratosphere of my brain. So maybe I need to go back and look at that a little bit. Maybe I missed that. But wow, that's. Let me write that down, because I'm putting your numbers next to Jackson Smith. And don't get me wrong, I was hella high on that dude coming out of college, so that's cool. Yeah. But he had DK, and he had a old slider every time he catches the ball in front of him over there. So yeah. Right. Number 9, I got Puka Nacua.
Saw my list. Just not there.
Yeah, Matt Stafford's going to be old this year, and they're not going to be any good. I'm putting that into the atmosphere. I know, you had them winning the division.
I did have them winning the division. I mean, I'm not too terribly far off of where you're at. You said that's 9, right?
Yep.
Okay. My number 9 is Brian Thomas Jr.
Oh, you really love that dude.
I do. I do really love that dude. Is that really that, like, I can obviously with the team and the quarterback and everything that's going on over there, obviously there's a lot to doubt, but is it that crazy to say that he has top 9 capability?
Well, I don't think that Brian Thomas Jr. is the 9th best wide receiver in the league. So I think it's crazy, but I don't think he's the 9th best wide receiver in the league. And going back to Puka, my number 9, I just think I don't know what your thoughts are on Devontae Adams this year, but mine aren't high. And you take Cooper Kupp off that team, and now defenses are really going to key in on Puka Nacua. I think it's just asking a lot of him and his skill set to do what he did his rookie year in the league. So going to my number 8 is Brian Thomas Jr. So,
you got me. All right.
I don't.
I was good. I'm like, damn, is that really crazy?
No. I love that dude. I fell in love with that dude in the pre-draft process. I fell in love with that dude during the draft process after he got all the interviews he did. And then he came out with the corpse of a quarterback and he had a huge year. Like, I love everything about. I honestly think if you look at this top 10 list, there's one dude in front of Brian Thomas Jr. that I would want my team to go after and trade the farm for. And I'm not like, obviously Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, but those guys have been paid, they're productive. You're not going to get them for, so just a super young wide receiver who I'd want my team to go get no matter what. Brian Thomas Jr. is like the number 2 of the next generation superstar talent on that list. So.
Are both those guys in their second year that you would want your team to trade for?
Yeah. And did
both those guys go to the same school?
I was wrong on this guy last year, too. Shout out to Rome Odunze.
Yeah, right?
I still have
my.
So do you got that? 8. Do you got that guy higher up on your list then?
I do have that guy higher up on my list.
I mean, you're going to have to watch him for years. So
that's unfortunately true. At my number 8 is Puka Nacua. I'm not super high on Devontae Adams. I do think he's more productive than Cooper Kupp by just virtue of being on the field. He still had, 1,100 yards last year, something like that. I think he's going to be productive, but I think Puka's going to have the better year. I think that there's an expectation for some people that Puka's going to be a top 5 guy, and I don't see that world for Puka. Not right now. You would have to give me a really good year this year for the next year to say, okay, this guy deserves to be inside that top 5 conversation, but I think 8's okay.
I mean, here's the thing is if you went up to any Rams fan and said, hey, man, we're going to slot Puka Nacua in for a top 10 season. Are you cool with that? They would just say yes. But then they'll watch this and be mad. That's fine. Puka's not the biggest wide receiver on the field. Nothing he does with his release is exceptionally exciting. He's not super fast. I mean, he was drafted in the later rounds for a reason, but he just gets open. So, but that was with Cooper Kupp on the other side. And, we're not going to talk about injury, but there was some injury time last year. So, which a Rams fan might say, well, that just makes his 3,200 yards he's at or whatever so far in his career even more impressive with the injuries. So, all right, well, we got the bottom 3 in lockstep a little bit besides Tyreek Hill and Jackson Smith-Njigba, I guess. So who you got at 7?
I have Nico Collins at 7. I think that there was a lot of you and I have had length of discussion about Nico, about what we've had the discussion about. Nobody knew who Nico Collins really was and if he could really be a 1. And I think it's solidified that Nico's a baller and he is a 1. And him being out for a lot of that season and still reaching 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns on 68 receptions, I think he does make the difference for this team. And I think he's going to be a lot higher than that 1,000 yards this year. I think he's going to be comfortably around 1,200.
I made the argument that I said, CJ Stroud, everyone's like, oh, Nico Collins. I said, CJ Stroud made Nico Collins. Nobody knew about that dude before that. But that was the wrong take. He's legitimately a baller. I don't have him at 7. I have him more in the top 5 conversation. So I'll hold off on that. My 7 is going to be the aforementioned hinted at Malik Neighbors.
Okay.
And that's purely just quarterback play driven. Because we saw that dude take like wide receiver screens 70 yards to the house last year, put that team on his back. So I think he's going to be successful regardless of quarterback play. But I have him at 7.
109 receptions, 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns with no one throwing him the goddamn fucking ball.
With a team that was trying to lose.
With a team that was trying to lose. And then now you have Daniel Jones 2.0 going to be thrown to him and Jackson Dart. So that's cool. Nice. Congrats for that.
Horses in camp say that Jackson Dart looks amazing.
You like, dude, least favorite thing out of this offseason, number one least favorite thing. Stats for camp. Get that shit the fuck out of here. That shit's so fucking lame. Get that shit out. That's so fucking stupid. That's my least favorite thing.
You know what my second least favorite thing is when there's like Jacob Taylor, PhD, MD on Twitter, and he sees an injury. Oh, well, that looked like he just popped his ACL for certain. And then the guy comes jogging back on 3 plays later. There was like a 2-second clip of Christian McCaffrey making a cut. It was in slow motion on 49ers Twitter. And it looks slow. He looks like he lost all his burst. And I'm like, the 49ers beat writers are talking about how he looks like he's looked as good as he's ever looked in a 49ers uniform. But yeah, man. Yeah, Mr. Twitter Doctor, he's lost all his bursts. So,
oh my gosh. Yeah, so like I said, 7, Nico. 7 for you is Malik Neighbors. 6 for me is Malik Neighbors. Dude's going to be incredible. He was already incredible. Like we already mentioned, kind of already wrong about that one. Both those LSU receivers, goddamn, man. And I guess the quarterback who was thrown to him wasn't half bad either. So, yeah, man, the top 6 is definitely in the cards.
Okay. Who you got at 5?
Who you got at 5?
Amon-Ra.
All right, I got Amon-Ra at 6. We're good there. Nico Collins is at 5.
Okay, cool.
Top
Just
4,
a full
baby.
healthy season. Yeah. Some people are going to be mad about the Amon-Ra thing, especially Lions fans if they hop in here, about being outside that top 6 conversation. Is there a reason why you put some people are going to be like, Nico over Amon-Ra? Really? 115 receptions, 1,200 yards, and 12 touchdowns over this guy? What's the defense there?
Amon-Ra's A-dot sucks.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't get very deep on his targets.
Yep.
Which generally means that he gets open because of his scheme. And his offensive coordinator is gone. So,
and his quarterback just lost a little bit of time because his center and guard have changed from this offseason. So it's going to be a little different.
So, Lions fans, I'm talking to you right now. Sucky A-dot lost the offensive coordinator, and that means that your quarterback, your wide receiver, your star franchise wide receiver is not a top 5 wide receiver. He's just a top 6. Cry me a freaking river.
Oh, humanity. Top 4. A.J. Brown.
How? His quarterback is unranked. How can you have A.J. Brown as the top? Who started to him? Saquon Barkley? How sense to you?
That's fine.
Brock Purdy is ranked as a quarterback with no top 10 wide receivers, but Jalen Hurts has a top 4 and probably 2 top 15s, and he's not ranked.
He's not ranked.
Correct.
Oh, my God. This is just ridiculous.
Were you waiting for that one?
No, I thought you were going to leave him off.
No, he's exceptionally talented. A.J. Brown's a dude.
I got A.J. Brown at number 4. I agree with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we lockstep? I'm staring at my list.
Are we lockstep 4 through 1?
Probably not, because you love your guy too much, but
CD's at 3.
CD's at 3.
Jamar's at 2.
Jamar's at 2.
And Justin Jefferson's at 1.
No, I got Brandon Ayuk. I'm just kidding. I got Brandon Ayuk as number 1 piece of shit. Miss camp, play like crap, blow out your ACL, then now your team wants to trade you.
The name of the game, man.
It would have been okay if they let him go for a 5th, just to kind of like tell the rest of the players that come after, you know? Yeah. And it's like, George Kittle did the right thing, got a big old contract. Fred Warner did it the right way, got a big old extension. Brock Purdy got his extension. But no, Brandon Ayuk wants to be a diva. Debo Samuel wants to be a diva. Like, Debo got paid for the shit he did, not what he's gonna do. Like, that's like a baseball contract. Like, you pay these dudes once they're 31 because everything they did for you. That was the Debo contract. But Brandon Ayuk, man, if that dude, if he has any setbacks, if he's not on the field by like week 6.
Yeah, sure. When it comes inside of our the top 3, CD, Jamar, and Justin, I think there's going to be a lot of people who want to see Jamar at the 1 spot instead of Justin. You're splitting hairs at that point. I don't think there's a single team in the league that would say, oh, I have Justin Jefferson, but I would rather Jamar Chase, or I have Jamar Chase, but I'd rather Justin Jefferson. 2 bees in a pod. The 2 guys who just are going to put on work again year after year. More LSU wide receivers. We got 4 LSU wide receivers on our top 10. That's fucking nuts.
The whole thing about these guys is, and why it's such a toss-up, is like, is the other wide receiver on Justin Jefferson's team a top 20 wide receiver? He's probably close.
Mm-hmm.
T. Higgins is definitely a top 20 wide receiver. Smith is definitely probably top 25 at the very least, if not top 20. And
yeah,
I mean, with Amman Ra, there's probably an argument somewhere to be made for Jameson Williams being top 30, which means he's a number 1 on a team out there somewhere. You know, the only player on this list that doesn't really have a legit guy next to him. Again, you guys want to smoke the George Pickens Kush, that's fine. Like, every wide receiver that leaves Pittsburgh self-implodes within like 10 minutes of his first game. So I just CeeDee Lamb to me could be the player like that may be your only offense. You know, like, which it's been for a couple of years, you know. So CeeDee Lamb could easily be the number 1 guy on this list out of pure volume, you know.
Yeah.
So that's when it comes to splitting those hairs 1 through 3, it's just, you know, does T. Higgins have a huge year? Does that knock Jamar Chase down production-wise? I mean, he's still talented. He's still top 3 talent-wise. But
right.
Just to throw some discourse there, since 1 through 4 was the same.
Yeah, absolutely.